tuning in City Lime. I'm your host, Ra.
And Ashel.
And we are getting into some Caribbean culture.
Yes, and we are actually on location for today's show. We are in Decatur at Ms Iceys restaurant. So we are sitting here with some lovely, lovely guests of ours. So before we even go ahead and continue, we want to make sure that they go ahead and introduce themselves to the audience.
Hi, I am Tasha Bell, one of the operating partners at Ms Iceys Kitchen Bar.
Okay. Wow, all right.
Hold the mic.
Right here. I am Yusef Walker, otherwise known as the famous Scotty Jackson or the poet Pet Exing. And I'm also an operating partner at Ms Iceys Kitchen Bar.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We're super excited to be speaking with you guys. And no.
No? Damn. Okay.
All right, well, Ross, so let's talk about the next segment. Kind of go ahead and introduce that.
What's in your cup? One of our newest segments for this season. So today on our cup, since the topic of the discussion today is food, we also figured that we should bring on some bomb drinks, right, Ash?
Of course.
So inside of our cup, we have some Ray Nephew, a coconut rum punch, some type of alchemist drink with bourbon, and then we also have a pomegranate jalapeno margarita.
Nice. So
Yeah.
tell me about your drink, because I see the jalapenos in there. Is it spicy?
It's spicy, it's sweet, it's savory, it's all of that in one.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
How's your
mine-
drink?
I love mine. It's good. So shout out to the bartender.
We're gonna be feeling real good for this
Oh,
season.
yes. Well, I'm super excited because this is our second episode. And, last week we had our panel discussion about, just Caribbean culture and what it means to be Caribbean born versus American born. So now we're actually kind of twisting it a little bit and talking about food cuisine. And I'm super excited because, of course, we're talking about Caribbean cuisine. So I'm ready to jump right into it. Are you?
Well, let's jump right into it. I'm all set. So, Tasha and Seth, how would you really describe Caribbean cuisine? What does that mean to you all?
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go?
I said you go first.
Okay. Personally, for me, I grew up eating Caribbean food because I was actually born and raised in the Caribbean. So what it means to me really is just home. My mother is St. Lucia, and I'm from St. Lucia. So essentially, my background is a little, I guess, slightly different from some of the islands. So we're both French, African, and British. So the cuisine definitely shows through the cuisine, as opposed to some other islands which don't have any French influence. So, for the islands like Haiti, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, that has that French influence, some of the palates are like slightly different. But I still feel like 98% of Caribbean food is pretty much very similar as far as spices are concerned.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead. And then what about you, Seth?
So, the question is, what is Caribbean food to me?
Yes, what does it mean
my
to you?
God.
How would you describe Caribbean cuisine?
Me, I'm a half-breed.
Okay.
So I get to see it through a traditional lens and an American lens. So I like to look through stuff through both lenses. So through the Caribbean lens, I would see it pretty much how she sees it, as like home food. But then when you put it into like a professional aspect, like a restaurant, you got to break it down. It's like what it is actually. It's really a lot of, I would say, comfort food.
Yeah, I can see that.
In the, like every aspect of every level of the food.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
If
Do
that
you
makes
think it
sense.
has any influence on the whole world? Caribbean food?
I mean, absolutely. But I think first, the world probably had an influence on us, and then we kind of became a melting pot, right? Because let's not forget just the rich history of the Caribbean. We had Chinese, we had Indian, we have African, we have German, Italian, whatever it is. And, essentially the culture made it their own. And I guess probably just like as a means of survival is how Caribbean food came about, right? So do we have an influence on the world right now? Oh, absolutely. Because, it's very cool to be Caribbean.
Absolutely. And kind
cool
of
to
to
be
add
Caribbean.
something into there really quickly, thinking about just the native spices and stuff that we have in the Caribbean, I think that's also something that sets the Caribbean apart because it's a tropical climate, so we have different types of food and spices and stuff like that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. All right, so, we're sitting here at Ms Iceys Bar and Grill. Kind of tell us a little bit about the restaurant in itself and tell us basically what sets it apart from other restaurants here in Atlanta.
So Ms Iceys is actually Steph's grandma.
Hey, Grandma.
Says, hey, grandma. She is, her spirit is definitely in here. When we're Caribbean, so when I say spirit, it sounds kind of scary, like there's a duppy. No. But just like spirit as far as, just her energy is definitely in here. And I think, we're making her proud. I've never met her, but I'm actually the only woman in the group as far as the restaurant is concerned. And, to just be able to have somebody who came before me who was an immigrant like myself definitely means a whole lot. We definitely are big on energy as far as, making sure that our staff are in good spirits. That way when guests walk in, they feel that too. So essentially it's like you go to your grandmother's house. Grandma don't ever turn anybody away as far as, well, yeah, bring your friends. I have food for everybody. So that's kind of the culture we want to cultivate.
Nice.
You walk in, the room kind of hugs you because it's warm and, just like happy. It makes you feel warm and cozy inside. So that's kind of what we want to put out as far as, even it just being in a restaurant space. And a lot of people walk in and they're like, oh my God, the vibe in here. It's almost never, it's beautiful. It's almost always the vibe, which speaks on the energy of the place for sure.
Definitely.
Feel that in here.
And I want to turn to you, Steph, really quickly because you mentioned this is your grandmother's, you guys are basically continuing on her legacy. So what does this mean to you as her grandson to continue her legacy?
So,
Make sure your mic is all the way up.
what's up?
Make sure your mic.
Oh, yeah, it is. So for me, it actually has absolutely nothing to do with food. Which is ironic because it's a restaurant where we serve a lot of food.
Right.
But me and Ms Icy had a really weird relationship as to where we would just battle with wits all day. And it was really just the energy that we had around each other, which is kind of the energy that transferred just into the building and particularly into my kitchen, which kind of just influences everything that comes out of my kitchen. And if you don't know my kitchen, I only have 2 male cooks.
Okay.
It's a kitchen full of women, and it just happened like that. I didn't try to make it like that. I didn't hire all of them. They just stayed. And it's pretty dope.
Nice.
They don't cry.
So it's a little unbalanced. It's more females than males in the kitchen.
In the entire restaurant.
In the entire restaurant, you
okay.
all. And we're giving that grandma, granny type of feel.
Yes.
So how would you say Icy's food is different from other restaurants? What might other restaurants not have any money that you all have?
So as far as, us being a Caribbean background and Southern, I don't think there's another restaurant, at least not here in Atlanta, that gives you a taste of both. Just like Southern flavors and Caribbean flavors. Now, we're by no means like a full-fledged Caribbean menu as far as, I had somebody ask me today, you have ackee and saltfish? I'm like, unfortunately, we don't. But I think it becomes a little tricky because people do, if you're of Caribbean descent, the first word that's going to stick out to you is Caribbean. So you're going to come and ask, hey, I saw Caribbean, so you have stewed chicken, you have curry chicken.
Not that type of restaurant.
Right.
So we're not like a full-fledged, hardcore Caribbean cuisine as far as the cuisine is concerned, but we do have oxtails, we do have a jerk lamb. So we put our twist on, some traditional dishes. So our oxtail, as opposed to being stewed, is braised. By this man's, listen, if you have not had the oxtails here,
Get it. It's something to die for.
Nice.
body it. If
Like
you get-
Popeyes, I'm going to die for it.
Okay, we don't want to kill
No, we're not on that level.
We don't want to get that ignorant, but it could get to that level.
So it seems like you all have a lot of things on the menu, right? You're always willing to give because it's just that type of environment. Can we let me put the cards down.
You
Can
need
we
some food?
talk about something? What is it with the stereotype, the Jamaican restaurant stereotype? One, there's a
What's the
lady in the
stereotype?
front. Let me tell you.
When I have that.
Yeah, there's a lady in the front.
Because they don't.
Then they ask for something and they're like, I'm gonna have that. Like, why?
Trevor, you have stewed chicken in the back.
What is that?
Oh, should I have it? Should I have it?
want her
to
to
you.
lie?
But that's like a lot of West Indian, Jamaican restaurants.
Yeah.
But you guys don't portray that here. You make sure you're fully stocked.
We don't portray it.
Listen, there's something called what's it? Supply and demand.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
If the
Into
demand
it.
is there and the people come and they buy it out, some days,
Listen, we supply the food and then demand the money.
yeah.
There we go.
You know, if it's good, it's good, and that's not necessarily a bad thing to have things sell out because you know it speaks to the quality of what we're selling and the product. So I mean, if you know you're dying to get something and you know you come in and you've heard so much about it, get here early.
There you
Make a
go.
reservation.
You guys heard it here first, so make sure you're here on time. On time.
Well, let's get in the topic of hospitality since we're talking about that.
What exactly would you like to discuss?
Well, I want to know from y'all point of view, how would you describe West Indian hospitality? Is there a difference than regular, normal
way
hospitality?
different.
How would you say so?
See, I'm the half breed,
Okay,
so I've
come on,
seen the
talk about
hospitality on both sides, right?
Talk about it.
So I'd
First
say
off, can you say what type of half breed you are? When, where, what type?
it's
It's too much,
It's
it's
muddy.
sweet.
So
It's funny.
it's like Jamaican, Cuban, and then that side gets really crazy. The Jamaican side sticks most of it,
Got it.
but it gets real muddy after you just go too deep. But so now back to the hospitality. I got a lot of different family from a lot of different islands. I got Trini cousins, I got Jamaican cousins, I got cousins from Belize, and it's mostly a thing like if you go into a household, yeah, you're offered food. Like my auntie Dioki, as soon as from 6 o'clock in the morning, she's cooking dinner.
Oh, that's, that's a whole other level.
You see what I'm saying?
I think
And then
that's
she's feeding you
across
breakfast
the
at the
islands.
same time.
Well,
And when you
I was
leave
in
and come back, she act like you've been famished. You know what I mean? And then on the American side, it's more of like hotel service as what they would consider hospitality, more of like just being welcoming and stuff. It's not mostly just feed you. Like the Caribbean side, they want to make sure you're fed and comfortable and like all
Fat, basically. And then talk about you afterwards. because
Yeah.
You get too fat.
You look so fat.
or your
Looking
manga.
around. You're looking around.
So yeah, it's different.
Nice. And I don't want to say half breed, but I'm American and Caribbean, so I have both sides. So I
You're
can
a
kind
half-breed.
of, basically, I guess, in your words, right? But I can
Embrace
side with
it.
you on
We're
that.
dope.
We're dope. I agree. But I want
Said
to
the half breed.
I want to turn it a little bit because you mentioned something. You said that you have Cuban in you, so you have that Spanish cuisine. Kind of talk about that side of you and the food that you've been used to, you grew up with that Spanish side.
Mostly the food I grew up with. The only person that really I grew up around that was from Cuba. Like I do have uncles that were born there and aunts, but they mostly stayed in Florida. I was in New York, and the only person I had contact with was my grandpa, and he was also Jamaican.
Ah, okay.
He was born in Cuba, moved to Jamaica when he was about 19,
Nice.
and he was Jamaican.
Nice. Okay. I
Unless
got
he
you.
was irate. Then
Then the Spanish side came out.
yeah, and that's really how that was kind of like a problem child. Right? But in his food, like it was more. It wasn't like Cuban food is kind of different because it's not a heavy emphasis on salt.
It's not.
You know what I mean? And so his cooking was way lighter than I would say Ms Iceys cooking
Okay.
or
okay.
my mother's cooking. Like, it was lighter, but it had flavor.
Yes.
You know what I
That's
mean?
that zone going on.
Oh yes. Yes, definitely.
But then when you take it to another aspect like Puerto Rican or Dominican, it's like the salt comes back up. You know what I mean? So I think it's mostly a salt conversation.
And the she's a whole
Right,
nother-
yeah, that's a whole
nother
different
episode.
topic. But okay, so thank you for that. So now I want to turn to you because you mentioned that you have French influence being from St. Lucia. So tell us a little bit about French cuisine and how that played a part in just you growing up and the food that you ate.
So I think it's more so the spices as opposed to actual. So I wouldn't say that. we have full-on French. Like, well, you know what? We do be
Like
eating
baguettes and stuff.
We do be eating sea snails. Like, that's actually a thing. We definitely we have a green banana salad. I don't know of any other island that, and I could be wrong, but I literally said this to somebody last week, like, hey, and I don't necessarily know that's actually completely French, so don't quote me on that, and don't nobody call the show and be like, she didn't know what she was talking about. But I don't know if that was like a hardcore French cuisine. But we have a green banana salad in St. Lucia. So it's green bananas, you boil it, you cut it up, you mix it with saltfish. Of course, you season it down. So you don't even have to saute the saltfish. You boil all the salt out of it, and then some people add corn in it. So me, being a watered down Caribbean person now, one year I made it and I actually put pomegranates in it.
Oh,
Fire.
That was really good.
sounds good.
Did you have it? Yeah. Yeah. So I had to put a little twist on it, but I think it comes out more so to the spices and the preparation of how the food is made, not necessarily because it's a full on, it's French food.
Right.
I wouldn't call it that because we're more heavily African influenced in our food, and I think that's why a lot of the islands, the food is very similar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, before we hop into our next segment, which is a little game for you all, I have a little combo that I want to pick up from last week. So last week we talked briefly about wild meat. It's something about wild meat, especially in Trinidad, right?
Wild who?
Oh,
Wild
boy.
meat.
Wild meat.
Yes.
Oh,
So
like-
in some countries, they may eat things that may seem a little bit strange in your culture. So like, for instance, we have manikou. Does anybody know what that is?
We eat
A
manikou in St. Lucia. Well, first of all, in the countryside, it's a rodent.
Pretty much like an opossum.
Yeah, like exactly like an opossum.
She's like,
Take a sip on that.
So all of that type of stuff, what do y'all think about that? Would you get down with it?
So I've had it before, but I also used to be sent to the countryside with my grandmother, and
So you have no choice.
right. So it's like some things like I grew up in the city, but like my mother was from the countryside. So in the summertime, Christmas time, they send you down there, and then you it's just part of being in the country.
You eat what they
Right.
eat.
So
yeah.
Christmas time, the goat getting killed, the sheep getting killed. We run for the ears because we want to throw salt on it, throw it on the charcoal. No, this is real. This is serious.
Real life.
Real life.
I remember holding the intestine so they could make blood sausage. And you have to listen. It was a disgusting process, but it was amazing tasting.
Listen, you gotta work for what you want to eat. Listen.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Well, let's jump right up into our game. So this game is this or that, right? So we're gonna ask you one thing and another thing, and you guys quickly on the top of your head, you're gonna say what you prefer. Okay?
Okay.
For instance, red or blue? Blue, red. Okay? Fair enough? Ashley, start it up.
All right. Curry or jerk?
Damn, that's hard. I'm sorry. That's not an option. Who? Jerk.
Okay.
Curry?
What kind of Jamaican are you?
What do you say, Ra?
Like curry.
Okay, curry. I'm curry
yes,
too.
Curry too.
I feel some
Cheers.
type of way.
It's all right. It's all
All
right.
right, moving on to the alcoholic beverages.
Ray. Sorry.
That's not even an option. That's not even an option. All right.
Oh.
Red stripe or Carib?
Red
Stripe.
stripe.
Okay.
Stripe.
Since Stag not in there, I'm gonna say stripe.
All right. Next rum question. White rum?
Ray. Sorry.
So white.
Wait. Hold on. White rum,
Sponsor me.
gold rum, spice rum, or flavored
White.
rum?
Gold rum.
White.
Spice rum for me.
Really? I feel like we all white.
White?
Yeah, white.
I like spice.
Yeah, the only white rum I like is Red Nephew, so like everything
I
else
can't do
is
the red.
darker.
All right. Roti or cocoa bread?
Cocoa.
That's hard.
Bread is bread.
Why is that hard?
That's hard.
What?
Bread is bread. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, I'm a bread lover. So
Bread is
for
bread.
me,
Yeah.
bread is bread. I'm good with either
Give me
or.
bread, I'm a body bread.
All right. So since we're on the topic of roti, then bus up or dal puri?
Dog.
Dal.
Damn.
We weren't on the topic of roti.
We were actually talking about bread, but
Sorry, Trinity came out of me. Sorry.
Didn't hear anything. You just-
Right.
all right, I got a good question, and I know I'm probably gonna be by myself on this one. Peas and rice or rice and peas?
Wow.
Rice and peas, that's a question?
Peas and rice for me.
But you're a half-breed.
Ooh.
Don't disrespect us like that.
You don't say peas and rice.
Nah.
Okay.
It just
What you
depends
say?
on
Rice and peas. It's a
Okay,
dance
peas
to
and rice.
everything.
It depends on where you're from in the Caribbean.
I heard Guyanese say peas and rice or chicken curry.
Stop.
Next question. Next question. All right.
Duck curry. What is that?
So, sucker bag or bag juice or nutcracker.
Like New York nutcracker?
Like New York nutcracker. Since we have some half breeds.
Yeah, nutcracker.
Wow, this half-breed.
Bad
Thank
juice.
you, Seth, for introducing
hold on, hold
this term.
First off, I'm sorry. Let me divert real quick.
Divert.
You said sucker bag?
Yeah, people call it sucker bag.
What islands?
Where?
I've never heard
I
sucker
heard
bag
people-
before.
I haven't
Bag juice.
actually
Bag
either.
juice.
Yeah, sucker bag. You sucking a bag.
Well, yeah, I get it. I get the premise, but I've never heard it before. So
That's
for
why
me,
we
it's
here,
bag
learning.
juice. And then bag juice was when I lived in Jamaica for a little bit. Yeah, so bag juice.
Bag juice.
You want a nutcracker?
I suppose. I'm going to be the oddball. I'm going to go with nutcracker.
Nutcracker too. This is the New York stuff. You never know what they put in, but you never know what they put in the bag.
My
juice
point
either.
exactly, and I lived in New York.
You never know what they put in a nutcracker. You rolling the
Right. Next question.
All right. Coconut water, aloe water.
Coconut water.
Coconut.
Aloe.
Aloe.
Coconut.
Aloe water is medication. For the
You
people
say
who-
aloe?
Yes, boy, that just goes in your soul.
Coconut water good for your daughter, though.
Yes. It's good for hangovers, too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Since we're in the holiday season right now, this actually was on my IG story the other day. Black cake or any other holiday treat? If so, what?
It's a holiday treat.
Holiday treat, you know they have grated cake, sweet bread,
We have that stuff year round in St. Lucia. So I guess I would have to say black cake.
black
Black
cake.
cake for me, for sure.
Black cake, black cake. I like sweet bread. So.
Yeah.
All right, one of the last ones, Ms. Aisha.
Yes.
Tough one.
Mom's cooking or granny's cooking?
Woo. Hurt the heart.
Don't say the wrong one, just in case they're watching. Mom.
Oh, my grandmother did, so.
My mom cooked more half-breed food.
You sure you
said
want to
more
say
half-breed
this in Icy's establishment?
Yes,
You want to say this Icy's
yes,
establishment?
I do. You really want to know what Ms. Icy cooks? She looks some country food.
Rice and eggs?
Rice and eggs.
I don't know. She
Okay.
said the first thing she always started to like make rice.
Well,
and eggs.
since we in Icy's establishment, how about we just bring in some icy food?
I'm
Is that
for
alright with
that.
All right,
Definitely
cool.
for that.
So first up, we have some.
Strip club wings.
And I'm looking at me.
That's actually the name.
Ratchet.
Mac and cheese,
Yummy, yummy,
4 cheese mac, skillet cornbread, with a praline butter and
Oh,
some
yes.
oxtail.
I don't even know where to start.
This is a lot.
You guys start, because I'm not eating.
Yeah, I don't eat meat.
This is all you guys.
So we're
Okay,
definitely
Rob.
going to get the itis after this.
Yes.
Because this is real home style
It looks so good.
Southern Caribbean food.
Yes. Let's dig in, Ra. Let's be the fatties in the bunch. Let me
Right.
tell you, I'm a foodie. I love food.
I love
so
food too. This is why we at Icy's. They have to come to Icy's and try out.
yes. So tell us a little bit about some of the plates that we have out here.
That's all you use, Sip Walker.
I know. It's obvious. It's crazy how I said like it's not a restaurant about food,
You did
but
say
it
that.
is.
I
So-
see. It looks good.
Yeah, I feel like it only is good and looks good because
It's like fall
I
off
don't
the
really
boat
know
right
how to describe it. So no plate here was designed as really a meal. It's more so designed as an experience.
I like
It's
that.
kind of why you have the oxtail with mashed potatoes as opposed to rice and beef. Because
Okay.
there's more activity going on with the mashed potato. You get to dip it, swoop it, swap it. You get to do a whole lot of different things the wings. You got yogurt
You
on
squeeze
there.
that lime on there.
Oh,
Squeeze
yes,
the lime.
okay.
Don't
You
forget
get,
that.
yeah, it's a whole interactive thing. Then you gotta look at the lights, look at the wall. You're gonna come back. It's gonna be a whole situation.
Nice.
And
Okay.
you just keep people captivated. I feel like the more you're involved in your plate, it's like you want to know what's happening on this side of the plate, that side, this side, and then you're in it. You're paying attention to it. So when you have a complaint, we know it's real.
Nice. So it's a science to everything then.
It's science.
I mean, hey, the way you just made it sound sounds
This right here
sounds
is
very calculated.
science.
Yeah.
This is English, mathematics, everything.
It's all of that.
Right
All
here.
of the
Just
above.
vibing.
Okay.
That's really all it is.
Subjects.
Okay.
9 subject type of plate right here. So you guys make sure you check out Ms Iceys. What
Definitely.
hours is Ms Iceys actually?
So we're closed on Mondays, but we're open Tuesday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 3:30, and dinner starts at 5 to 10 p.m. Only do brunch service on a Sunday. We're open from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Sunday. Brunch is a thing. Hence my shirt.
Nice.
Okay.
Representing.
Yes.
I
So
love
the
it.
brunch be lit.
Lit. What motto say? Party lit.
See, that's every Sunday.
And I can testify because I've been here for brunch twice. So
What?
I've had a good time. I've had a very good time here.
That's
So
awesome.
you might know me. We'll talk after the show.
Well, thank you all for coming on our set
Yes.
and on our show. We're actually on y'all set, so thanks for having
Thank
us.
you for having us.
Yes, thanks for coming. Thanks for
Smoother
thinking
than
of
I
us.
thought. You're very TV.
Selling it to you all.
Of course.
So before we close out, we actually have a student organization, another new segment that we would like to bring onto the season 2, AUC Vibes.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
And
shout
you-
out to AUC Vibes.
Please do the honors and tell them a little bit about your organization.
My organization. So AUC Vibes is an organization that I founded and started up for Spelman, Morehouse, Clark, all of those 3 lovely institutions. And actually, you want to bring them up in this week's spotlight because since we are in the holiday spirit, last week they had their Vibes Giving, which is a week-long of festivities where they showcase Caribbean culture, but also the holiday spirit. So the last week, they did things like blood drive. They also made over 300 sandwiches for the Atlanta Union Mission, and just a whole bunch of other things for the spirit of giving.
Awesome. Well, shout out to AUC Vibes. That's pretty dope. Nice. And I actually want to talk about our new segment that I introduced on the last show last week. But basically, for each show, what we're going to do is actually ask the audience to tune in. So we want you guys to participate in the season. So last week, I asked the audience members basically, how does your Caribbean upbringing play a part in your life today? And so for this show, I actually want to turn it a little bit and talk about food. So I want to know, how does Caribbean food play a part in your life? How does Caribbean food play a part in your childhood and all that? So please answer the question. You can DM us. You can send us a message. You can comment on the YouTube video. However you want to reach us, please reach us.
Well, that ends our show this week, our segment on food. It was such lovely, you guys, having you all again.
Yes.
Thank you. Hopefully you guys come out again next week where we will be talking about a really great subject and topic. So, see you then.
Yes, and I do want to say, of course, if you have not followed us already, please follow us on Instagram at watch_DLime, DILIME. And of course, follow Caribbean Life TV on Facebook and Instagram, and then Caribbean Life TV Global on YouTube, where we would actually be showing our show every Friday night. So tune in every Friday night, 8 p.m., Caribbean Life TV Global on YouTube.
And Ms Iceys Kitchen on Instagram.
Yes, and of course, shout out your personal IG.
That's just a lot. So we are going to tag it at the bottom
Yeah.
of this show. All right, see you all next
Bye,
week.
see you guys.
Bye.